Okay. So in the last two sessions, we discussed about what is the meaning of Oracle Fusion Cloud Financials applications. In yesterday's session, we discussed the meaning of Fusion and Cloud. What do you mean by Fusion? The different best solutions Oracle fused into one single solution as a Fusion applications, and different best solutions they taken from different applications, and they built ultimate product called as Fusion applications. These all applications Oracle acquired and they built Fusion applications. And also we discussed about the meaning of cloud. Cloud means instead of using our own server, you can use Oracle provided virtual servers. Those servers would be available in all the countries, in the nearest data centers, wherever you do the business, so that in terms of accessing the server and responding the server, user experience would be very rich. If any company is going to use the cloud applications or virtual servers, you can say cloud applications. Cloud applications means the applications you are going to access through virtual servers. If any company is going to use cloud applications or virtual servers, these are the different subscription options are available. So IaaS stands for infrastructure as a service. Here we don't get any application. We can get storage space. You can store any data or you can install any applications as a part of IaaS. And in case of SaaS and PaaS, SaaS stands for software as a service. PaaS stands for platform as a service. In case of SaaS and PaaS, you can get application access. You get access to standard application. But in case of PaaS, you can customize, means you can create the new pages, new applications, reports, and integrations or interfaces. But only the disadvantage is you cannot upgrade automatically. If Oracle will come up with some latest kind of features or any new updates within the applications, your environment cannot be upgraded automatically since you are doing certain customizations. If you are a SaaS customer, yes, if any updates from Oracle, those can be upgraded automatically. It can be any sort of changes can be upgraded automatically. And if you are going to use SaaS subscription, you get same applications. So whatever you get in case of PaaS, same you can get in the SaaS, but the customizations are very much limited. You may create the technical custom reports or you can create the integrations, but you cannot create advanced customizations like page creations and application creation. Other one is writing some custom procedures which can be done by technical team. Those sort of customizations cannot be performed in case of SaaS. Anytime you can switch from SaaS to PaaS, that is very much possible. So this is what we have to understand about cloud and fusion. So from last two sessions, any questions from anyone, please? From the last two sessions, any questions, please? So being a finance consultant, what would be our role? When we are working for any project, what would be our role? This could be the big question for many guys. So I'll just high level, I'll give you 3-4 points, not very, very detailed level. So when we just complete this course, when you go through those 15 hours real-time recording videos, you'll come to know each and everything. But before you get into that, I'll just give you very high level overview or understanding what would be the role of financials consultant. Okay. Oracle Fusion financials consultant. . If you are going to work for any implementation project, you have to understand about their business. Understanding about client business means in accounts pay as a part of payables department. Here, if you look at these applications, you can understand. So to implement accounts payable, you have to understand in their payables department, what are the different transactions they are recording and what purpose, what is the business case to record the invoices, payments, what are the different business scenarios they are handling within the payables, how many suppliers they have, how many bank accounts they have, what are the different payment terms they are using, what are the different systems they are using, everything we have to understand. Okay, we sit with the client and we discuss, or else you may sit in the client location and you can understand, or else you can be in the offshore. Client may be in the different location and you can be in the other location, and you can connect through meeting and you can talk to them and you can understand how many suppliers you have, how many bank accounts you have, how many invoices you create daily, monthly, and what are the different transactions you create. So those all you'll come to know after going through this class. Once you complete AP, you will be able to understand what are the various scenarios can be handled by using our Oracle Fusion Accounts Payable application. Accordingly, you can ask the questions. They'll give the information. Based on that, you can set up the system. Based on that, you will understand their business and you have to set up systems. Setting up system is nothing but setting up applications, and you can test the system and you can present the system. And there will be few other activities. Those all you'll come to know as a part of the real-time related classes, as well as when we go through our classes also. Very primarily as a finance functional consultant, if you are part of implementation project, you have to understand how they are doing their business and which applications need to be implemented, how they are recording the invoices, how they are processing all the current business they have. You have to understand what applications they are using before coming to Fusion, what they are recording in those applications. You have to understand. So based on that, to support the same in Oracle Fusion applications, we have to set up our Fusion applications. AP you have to set up, PR you have to set up, how to set up and all we'll understand in our classes. Then you have to verify. You create invoice in the payables, you test whether that is working or not. You create the payment in the payables, you test. And everything, when everything is working fine, you will show to the client how to create invoice, how to make the payment, how to create the supplier, how to create the bank account. These are all the application specific functionalities we present to the client. Then client will start using the applications. If they are facing some issues, if you are part of support project, you can help them. This is a very high level understanding. We have to understand their client business, what is the business they are doing, how they are doing the business, in how many countries they are doing, how many branches they have, and in each branch, what activities they are doing with respect to finance. These points easily you can understand after completing this course. And you can set up the system and you can test and you can tell them how to use this system. If they are facing some issues, so you can support them. Since you are going to learn this complete in and out of end to end the application, you will be able to support. Once implementation is done, the business will just use the system to record the transactions. They don't do any setup. Being a finance consultant, we set up the system one time, then they do use the system daily base to record the business transactions, to generate the reports. How to use the system also, we have to help them. So this is a very, very high level understanding. So we should not get into details now. It will create a lot of confusion because we have to know about the application, how to deal with that application. So by the time you complete the course, you will be very much clear to understand many things. That time you can go through those videos, 15 hours videos that will help you to get better picture and detailed information about what would be our role, what exactly we do, what documents we prepare, how we deal with the client, everything you can understand. So that's all about just very high level. What is the role of technical consultant in the project? They do some customizations. We work as a functional consultant. We understand the business. We set up the system. We test. We help the client how they can use the system. We'll tell them how the system they can use, how they generate the reports. If they are facing some issues, we can help them. That would be our key role. Apart from that, we prepare some documents, etc. Those will come to know in those sessions. And what is the role of technical consultant? Technical. Technical consultant is responsible to perform the customizations. Already we discussed in the previous sessions. Customizations means creating new report and building some interface and creating the pages, applications, and writing some custom procedures and extracting the data from so-and-so systems and loading into another system. Such kind of activities can be done by technical consultant. Their job is they do the customizations. Customization is nothing but creating something new which is not available in the application. What they can create as a new. Oracle is providing many reports. For each and every application, they are providing the reports. If any additional reports are required as per the client requirement, the technical consultant can create the reports, new reports. You can say custom report. And say client is using on third-party applications. Other than Oracle applications, what are the applications the clients will use? Those applications we call as third-party applications. If any third-party application need to be integrated with the Oracle application, that we call as customization. What kind of customization is that? Integration. They have to do the integration. So they have to connect one system with another system. Any third-party application, they can connect to Oracle, or else Oracle system, they can connect to another system. That means to get the data from third-party to Oracle, they can create the connection, or else to send the data from Oracle application to another system also, they can build the connection. It could be inbound or outbound. Maybe to receive the data or to send the data, that can be done by technical consultant that we call as integration. Apart from that, they can create new pages. Okay, new pages, or they may create entire application also, custom applications, new applications, and they can write some kind of complex procedures also depending on the business requirement. Okay, primarily this would be the job of technical consultant. What is the role of DBA? Okay, DBA, database administrator, or apps DB, or you can say Fusion Apps DBA. So in every project, if you talk about Oracle Fusion applications, we don't need any DBA, but DBAs will be there from Oracle side. They will take care of the maintenance of the server, the virtual server maintenance, they'll take care. When we are working on the instance, if some instance is not working, you are trying to open one page, it's not opening, you can contact Oracle. You can contact Oracle. If that is something related to some programming related issues, the DBS can fix that issue by applying the patch. Patch means piece of code. Say you are working on the payables, you are trying to open the invoice creation page, it is not opening. Then we contact the Oracle. How do you contact? There is separate portal. Through that portal, you can contact. If you are working for any client, you will get access to that portal that we call as Oracle support portal. Oracle support. Through that portal, you can contact Oracle. They'll look into the instance. They will identify what's wrong. If anything wrong related to some application related programming, the page related, some code is missing, the DBA will take the responsibility of applying the patch. They fix that issue by applying the patch. Patch can have some piece of code information inside of it. If they apply the patch, such kind of issues would get resolved. Then we can start working on it. So DBA's responsibilities, they take care of the maintenance of the applications, the server, virtual server. If required, they apply the patches. And if they want to copy the data from one environment to another environment, that can be done by DBS. The the virtual server maintenance and the relevant activities can be taken care by DBA. But when we work in any implementation or support project, you never come across DBAs in case of Oracle Fusion Cloud. So DBAs are always from Oracle. So as a part of implementation, two roles people you can see. One is functional, other one is technical. The functional roles, the functional consultants will play the key role in every project. The technical consultant role is very much limited. If any customizations need to be done, we need technical consultant. Otherwise, we don't need any technical consultant in the project. Okay. So I could say more than 80% can be handled by functional consultants. 10 to 20. Some projects 10, some projects 5% only. Okay, we need technical dependency. So that's all about very high level. When you go through that real-time classes, you can understand very detailed level. There everything explained more detailed level. Now this is not the right time to get into that very much detailed information. So before we proceed, any questions from anyone, please? From last two sessions or any clarification you required on any point, whatever we discussed so far, please.
What technologies used for customization?
What?
Technologies.
So very simple. If you are going to create custom reports, they use BI, business intelligence, BI publisher. Okay, for reports, they use BIP or they can use OTBI. Okay, these BIP or OTBI, okay, they are using from Oracle BI. That is separate tool. In that, these are the two different flavors from Oracle BI. So BIP and OTBI, there are many other subtools also. By using that BI technology, they develop the reports. Okay, BIP, Business Intelligence Publisher, Oracle Transaction Business Intelligence. So by using these tools, they can develop the reports. Oracle is providing the standard reports also with the same. Integrations. They use OIC, the technical team. Oracle Integration Cloud. By using this Oracle Integration Cloud platform, they can connect the systems. To create the new pages or application, they use the technology called as ADF, Application Development Framework.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is what they use to do these activities.
Hi, Lakshman.
Yeah.
So in SaaS environment, say
Yes.
if we have to develop some custom reports which are not out of the box, so does this OTB and all come as a default with the licenses?
Yes, those are inbuilt.
Okay.
In Fusion, those are inbuilt. You no need to take the separate license. Any other questions, please? No questions. Now, so when we are part of any project, we get access to Fusion applications. We get access to Fusion applications. So for every client, by default, Oracle is providing two environments. Okay, two environments. So those environments you can call as instance also. Instance. So when we are going to work for any project, any client related project, the client will take the subscription from Oracle for Fusion applications, and Oracle will provide two instances for every client by default. If they take the subscription to implement Oracle Fusion applications, to use those applications after implementation, every client can get two environments. Those we call as instances. Those instances we use for different purposes. One instance you can use for testing purpose. Since we are going to use the instance for a testing purpose, that instance we call as test instance. The other instance we can use for real usage purpose. That means whatever the business they are doing, whatever the invoices they want to create, whatever the payments they want to process to the supplier, the real business data they can enter in this one instance. That instance we call as production instance. If implementation duration is say 10 months, if implementation time frame is 10 months, within 10 months, almost we will work on test instance up to 8 months. 7 to 8 months we'll be working on the test instance only. What we do in the test instance, we set up the system, we test everything, we'll show to the client, we'll show them how to create invoice, how to make the payment, how to create the supplier bank account, how to create the customer, how to create the receivables transactions, means customer invoices, receipts, how to create assets, how to calculate depreciation, whatever possible in these applications, whatever client need. Within this application, many things may be possible as a part of that application solution. But as per client business, what client need, those we have to show to the client. This is how you can record so-and-so transaction by using the payables, receivables. That's how we have to show in the system. So we test first and we will present to the client. These all activities we do in the test instance. If implementation time frame is 10 months, up to 7 to 8 months, we don't touch production instance. We'll be working on this. Once everything is finalized, we do the same setups in the production instance, or else you can copy the setups from the test instance to production instance. Then here we load their real-time data. We load all their suppliers, all their customers, all their invoices, all their transaction, all their assets, everything we load into this production. Then we can tell to the client, yes, you can start using this production to record your day-to-day business transactions. That is very high level, the purpose, to understand the purpose. Test instance we can use for a testing purpose. Production instance is the real instance which can be used by client. So within the production instance, what we can do the setups and we can keep that instance ready. We don't enter any transactions. As a finance consultant, we have to tell them how to use the system. We never our job is not creating invoice and payment, but we have to tell them how to create invoices and payments. Those all we'll do within the test instance. Okay, before we move to the production, always we work on the test instance and we set up the system. We test all the business scenarios and we present to the client. We'll take their acceptance. Then the same setups we move to production and we load their real-time data. This all we'll understand as a part of our course, how to load data, all the points we have to understand. Just try to understand the purpose. What is the difference between these two instances? Okay, so test instance is used by consultants to do the setups and to test all the applications functionalities. Production instance is the final instance which can be used by only client to record their day-to-day business transactions. And if you want to do some customizations, yes, the technical consultant can use this test instance. But by default, the test instance can be used by functional consultants. We can use the test instance. If any customizations need to be done, could be SaaS or PaaS. If any customizations need to be done, yes, those customizations also technical consultants can do within this and they can test the customizations are working or not. So they test, after testing, we also can test the same. Technical point of view, they test. Functional point of view, whether the report is fetching the data or not, data is coming from other system to our Fusion applications in case of integration. If they create some page, whether the page is working properly or not, they test as well as we also test. whether the functionality is working or not based on the customizations. So test instance can be used by functional consultants and technical consultants also. But in some implementations, if client has many customizations, we have to create many reports and many interfaces or many like pages or something you have to create. If you have a many customizations, the client can take one more additional instance. The client can take one more additional instance. That instance you can call as development instance. Development is nothing but customization. Development instance. By default, we get only two instances in every project, test instance and production. Test instance during the implementation we use for any kind of testing purpose or any kind of presentations purpose to client. And the production instance we can use as a final and real instance, which can be used by client. And when you have to do some customizations, if you have very less customizations, those you can handle by using the test instance. If you have many customizations, this instance may get impacted, something may go wrong, so that as a functional consultant, what setups we are doing, those can be disturbed. For that reason, if you have many customizations, client will get one more instance as a development instance. So the technical consultant will use only this instance. Within this development instance, they do many customizations, whatever required, and they test within that. And this can be used by functional consultants and it can be used by technical consultants. That is the purpose of these instances. In some implementations, instead of calling it as a test instance, directly they give the name as a development. This can be used by functional consultants as well as technical consultants. And some implementation name would be development, but that we use for testing purpose. Or else you may get two development instance. Name, I'm just talking about the name. When we get instance from Oracle, the name could be development instance 1 and 2. One can be used by functional people to do the testing. The two can be used by technical consultants for customizations. So this is how you can come across these instances. If client is very big, the client may take multiple test instances and multiple development instances only. Ideally, production would be one. Okay. So they may take multiple test instances, multiple development instances. For that, Oracle will charge. By default, two instances we get from Oracle, test and production. So if your client is going to implement SaaS-based implementation, okay, if your client subscribed SaaS-based cloud options or cloud model, so in that case, you may have only test and production. If your client is going to use PaaS subscription, since they have many customizations, so that is the reason they are choosing PaaS. In that case, they may get development instance. So it could be SaaS or PaaS, you can get development instance. For that, Oracle will charge. And client can get multiple test and development instances also, but production would be ideally one. Generally, they don't go with multiple. So to leverage the benefit of this Oracle Fusion applications, they go with the only one production. They can have a multiple test and development instances for various reasons. The reasons you will see, like we conduct different activities. For each and every activity, you may have a different instance also. Those you will understand in the real-time classes. Those are explained very detailed level. So here simple point is, so when we do the implementation for any client, this is the landscape we have to understand. Test instance and production, if required, development instance. Otherwise, only test and production. So this is what we have to understand. So apart from this, we not as a part of implementation, for our very general understanding, you can come across instance called as vision instance. So vision instance is not for any client. For client, always you can have a test and production if required development instance. So vision instance can be provided by Oracle to their implementation partners. Product is owned by Oracle. Now, all the companies, many companies are implementing Fusion applications to the clients. Take example, TCS. TCS is implementing Oracle Fusion applications for their clients. Infosys is doing the implementation. And Wipro is doing. IBM is doing. These all companies are doing Oracle Fusion implementations for their clients. These all companies are Oracle channel partners, or you can say Oracle implementation partners. So they can implement Oracle Fusion applications to the clients behalf of Oracle. Means they registered with Oracle as a implementation partners, channel partners, and they do the implementations for the clients. Same time, Oracle also is doing the implementations for a few clients. From Oracle side, there is a team, there is a separate division who do the implementations for the clients. And from every company who are the Oracle partners, the partner companies also can do the implementation for Oracle, for Oracle clients, these Fusion applications. Who are Oracle partners? For those, Oracle always provides Vision instance for the training and testing or practice purposes. Okay, for internal trainings or any other purpose, if they want to use, okay, for their competence, they can just use this Vision instance. What is the difference between these instances and Vision instance? These instances are fresh instances. What are the instances Oracle is providing to the clients? Those are fresh instances. There won't be any sample data. We have to create, we have to set up everything. As per the client business, we have to set up. How to set up, we'll understand in our classes. So the instances what we get from Oracle as a client, those instances are fresh instances. Everything we have to set up as per their business and how basic setups need to be done. Everything we have to complete. The Vision instance Oracle is not providing to any clients. This Vision for not for client, Vision Oracle is providing for their implementation partners. Okay, which other companies are doing this Oracle Fusion implementations for the clients. For those companies, Oracle is providing the Vision instance. What is the difference between these two instances? Within these instances, you don't find sample data, but within the Vision instance, you can find the sample data. For training purpose, if you want to refer some sample data, you can use it. If you don't want to do the setups, you can depend on that sample data and you can just play around. You can do some transaction creation, etc. So if you go to these instances, you don't find any suppliers or customers, you don't find any bank accounts, you don't find any asset related data, invoice, payments, you don't find any data. But if you go to instance, you can see suppliers data, customers data. Within the AP, you can find invoices, payments, receivables, transactions, receipts, in fixed assets, the depreciation, and in the cash management, bank accounts. This all the data already would be available that you can use for reference. So as a part of implementation, you no need to consider Vision instance. Just for your understanding, I'm explaining why they given the name as Vision. What are the sample data they are providing? For the sample data purpose, they took the company name as a Vision. But when they are generating the sample data, when they created sample data by choosing the company name called as Vision, they created sample data. Since in this instance, Vision company related data is available as a sample data, that is the reason we are calling it as a Vision instance. But this Vision instance name they kept in case of EVS. Now Oracle upgraded to Fusion. Still they are using the name as Vision, but reality in the instance, if you go and search with the name called a Vision, they are not showing any name as Vision. Now they change the naming convention to something else. So simple point what we have to understand is Vision instance for training and practice purposes. This instance can be provided by Oracle for their implementation partners, for the companies like IBM, Wipro, Infosys, those companies they can provide that. This instance they can give to their consultants, okay, to test something internally. for learning purpose or training purposes, they can use this instance. We never use for the client. Within the instance, you can have a sample data. The rest, when we talk about implementation for any client, this is how we use the instances. One test, one production, rest, it depends. If they want to have multiple, they can have. If they want to have one development, yes, two tests, two developments, okay. But production would be one. This is what we have to understand about the instances. These instances can be SaaS or PaaS, any instance. So this is all about the landscape of instance. When we are going to work for any project, so this is how you can find the instances. Okay, this is how you can find the instances. So once implementation is done, client will start using the production only. Client never touch these instances. This is only the real instance. These are just, if you want to create something, you create. If everything is working fine, that you will move to production. You will test something. If everything is working fine, the same you set up in the production, so that client will start using. So once implementation is done, client will start using the production. And what DBAs can do it, they will copy this production instance to test instance or development instance. The entire data they copy, that we call as cloning. The DBAs can clone production instance to test or development, so that if client is facing some issues in the production instance, the same data we need in the test instance. Development also you can use. So if you want to go and verify what is the issue, what they are facing, we need same data within the test instance also. So when you copy this production instance to test instance, this instance you can call as cloned instance also. Cloned instance means production data as these you are copying, including the setups. Whatever you have in the production instance, everything you are going to copy to another instance, so that when users or client is going to use this instance, if they have some issues, directly you should not go and check within the production, because it's very sensitive data. So some clients, they don't allow you to touch the production also. They may give you read-only access. It's a different security metrics they follow. So here they copy everything to test instance. Who can do this? DBA. Copying the production environment to test, that we call as cloning. They clone production to test instance, so that everything what we have in the production would be available. If any sort of testing you want to conduct, if you want to find out the mistakes, it would be easy for you if you are going to be part of support project. So this is what you have to understand about instances. Any questions from anyone, please?
Sir, who will decide this data cloning? Is it the
Data
consultant?
cloning, see what they do is they set some calendar, like maybe every 2 months, every 3 months, or if required, the very latest data is required for a testing purpose. Within every 1 month also, they do the cloning. Whenever we want DBS to clone, you have to raise on service request, SR, the Oracle portal, Oracle Global Support. You have to, as a consultant, as a client, from client side, you have to send a SR, service request, to Oracle. So there you have to ask them, please clone our production in environment, production instance to test instance. They do that activity. That's it.
Okay. So it is like a multiple times we can raise, and every time it will go and overwrite the previous data.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
Whatever you have in the test instance, already whatever setups or data you have in the test, that can be overridden by production setups and data. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks. Any other
Lakshman,
questions? Yeah.
if we want to replicate the configurations that we did in one instance to another instance, is there any utility like iSetup in cloud?
Yeah,
that
we can do it. In
leverage?
the Fusion, as a functional consultant, we can do it. That we call as configuration package. We will see that it's a simple task. We call as
Okay.
configuration packages. By
Got
using the concept called as configuration packages, you can move the setups from one instance to another instance. We don't need to look for any technical consultants or DBA support. As a functional consultant, you can do. Say, you did all these setups and you tested, everything is working fine. The same setups you need in the production, you can copy. For that, you can use configuration package. What configuration package will do is, it will extract all the setups and it will create one file. That file you can upload in the production. The same setups will be created by system. That's all.
Okay.
Simple task.
What about the custom objects like, custom code and reports that can be also moved?
No, that they have to do with a different approach. The technical people, what they do is they archive those files, they save those files, and they load into production other instance. That's it. Say they
Okay.
created some custom report in this instance. They go to that custom report, say they develop, they tested it is working fine. Even as a functional consultant, we verify whether the report is working or not. Yes, everything is working. Now the same report they need in the production. Simply they can save that report in their system and they can go to production, they can load that report definition. Simple task.
Okay.
There's not too much technicality. Simply they can perform that. They can save that entire custom report definition and they can they can upload into production. That's how they can move certain customizations from one instance to another instance.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Hi, Lakshman. Just for the copying the data from production to test instance. So does this work as backup or just as a reference for Oracle DPS whenever something wrong happens in the future?
Yeah, for reference only. See, suppliers, user may says, I'm trying to make payment for one invoice. Invoice number is 1111. Now you have to verify why they are not able to make the payment. That you should not do by accessing the production. So that invoice information should be available in the test so that you can play with that. What's wrong with that? You can go and verify different things. So that is reason for reference only. This data, whatever you have in the production, you have to clone to test or development also. It depends on what instance they are choosing for what purpose. Accordingly, also Oracle can do it. So we clone so that the real data would be available in the test instance also. If they are facing some issues in the production, the same setups and same data would be available in the test. It would be easy for you to go and verify. Otherwise, in the production, you can go and see. You cannot test it, right? That is real data.
Okay.
Okay, that is the reason the production data you can copy here so that you can verify and you can test also. So the user is saying, I created one invoice, I'm not able to make the payment. Now your requirement is you want to verify whether this is happening for that supplier only or the other suppliers also. Can you test in the production? No. If it is a test instance, you can create one invoice, additional invoice for testing. You can verify. You can understand whether system is allowing to make the payment or not, or else it might be allowing to make the INR payment. There might be issue when you are making the USD payments. This all you can understand by testing.
Yes.
Yep. So that is reason whatever the data you have in the production instance that need to be cloned to test. Okay, with some frequent schedules. Okay, every 1 month or every 2 months. So with what frequency, like how they are getting issues. Accordingly, just the client can ask the Oracle DBA team to clone it. That's all.
But it doesn't work as a backup, right?
Can you come again?
It doesn't work as a backup, data backup.
Backup everything. Every instance Oracle will take care. That is, backup is different. See, if you are using production instance, Oracle will take care of the backup. If anything goes wrong, they will restore the backup. You don't need to worry about it. See, backup and all we have to worry about if you are using your own servers.
Right.
Yeah. We discussed, right, on-premise.
Okay.
In case of on-premise, your DBA should take care of the backup of that entire instance. But here, everything Oracle will take care.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Any other questions here, please?
Hey, Lakshman. So in case of an EBS to the Fusion Cloud migration, should we migrate the entire data to the production instance or only for the last few years? And how are they going to handle the historical data?
See, when client is moving from EBS to Fusion, when client is moving to EBS to Fusion, just EBS we have to treat as like any other system only. It may be Oracle product, but you cannot upgrade. That is the reason EBS you treat as a third-party system. Whatever the practice you follow, in case of other systems, same practice we have to follow. There is no separate rules we have to follow if client is already using the EBS. You say already client is using EBS, what is the benefit? Since they are using EBS already, they implemented. Almost you are going to copy the same solution to Fusion. Wherever they need some changes, accordingly, you can do the changes and you can do the implementation of the Fusion. And what are the suppliers they have in the EBS application, they have to move to Fusion. Whatever the invoices they have to move to Fusion. What are the customers they have in the EBS, they have to move to Fusion. And assets, transactions, and items, stock related information, everything they have to move. If not EBS, say XYZ application, same we have to do, no difference.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So any other questions here, please? Okay, no questions. So when we are part of implementation project, Oracle will give the access to these instances. Initially, we get access to test instance. Yes, test instance always we call as a test, or else simply you can call as, instead of calling as instance, you can call as environment also. Okay, you have to use the same terminologies. You should be aware of it. Instead of test instance, you can call as test environment. Okay, test environment. The same way, you can call it as development environment, production environment, vision environment you can call here. Instead of instance, you can call as environment. And development instance, in short, you can call as dev instance or dev environment, short name. Instead of calling every time development instance or development environment, you can call as dev instance or dev environment. Production instance, simply you can call as prod instance or prod environment. Prod environment, nothing but production instance or production environment. Dev means development. And instances, we refer with the term called as pod also. You have iPod. Like iPod, since these are virtual instances, lightweight, they represent with the pod also, POD pod. They are not giving any standard definition. You can search in the Google and you can take anything, but that Oracle is not talking about. Just they call as a pod. Okay. So portable Oracle database, this and that. Many definitions are there, but Oracle is not claiming pod means you can understand so on. So just they refer any cloud instance as a pod. You can say pod, test pod, development pod, production pod. Means you have to understand they are talking about test instance, development instance, production instance. So these are the different naming conventions we should aware. You can call as instance, or you can call as environment, or you can call as pod. All are same. And as a part of implementation, client will get access to test and production. Yes, the same access they will share, but initially we'll start working on the test instance only. As a consultant, we have to start working on the test instance. We have to get access. We have to understand the business, and we have to set up in how many countries they are doing the business in each country, what businesses they are doing, and how many branches they have, what activities they are doing. Accordingly, we have to set up the system. For that, we need access to test instance. So when we get access to the instance from Oracle, here we have to talk about the user part. Users. So by default, for every instance, there will be seeded user called as FA admin. Okay, FA admin. FA means Fusion Applications admin. Fusion Applications admin user. So this is the default user for every instance. Earlier, Oracle used to share this FA admin user to the clients. Nowadays, they are not sharing this FA admin user credentials. What people are doing is consultants or clients, they are doing, sometimes they are changing the password to the FA admin. So if they change the password, even Oracle also cannot access directly. They have to take the DBA support from the back end again. They have to reset the password. Then only they can access. That is reason FA admin password they are not giving. So FA admin is there in every instance. That is a seeded user. So when we are going to work on any project as a consultant, Oracle creates some user and that user they will share with the client. Client will share with us. Then you can create your own user and you can start working on it. Okay, you can start working on it. So say you are working for one client. You are working for one client. The client name is say Geo. So they may create user as a Geo and they can set the password. They can give this username and password to the client Geo. They will share with the implementation team. We will work as a team for the implementation. So ideally these credentials can be received by project manager. The project manager will share the same credentials to all the consultants. Then the consultants can use the same user to do the setups. And in the most of the implementations, we create our own users. Or else, once we receive this user, we create separate user. Since we are going to work for financials, we may create as Fin IMPL, or you may create user as fin.impl. Any naming convention you can use, or else fin_impl, or else you can say financials. This is how you may create the user. By using that user, you can start working on the financials application. The SCM consultant can create the user like SCM IMPL, or else just they may give the name as SCM. The same way PPM, HCM, they can create separate users and they can use. Sometimes what we do is, since we will work as a team, we create only one user. We use the same user in the test instance initially for the different finance SCM. But generally, sometimes we do this initially, but later we create separately. If you create one user, if SCM consultant is doing some wrong setups by touching the finance setups, nobody can trace who did the mistake. If you have a separate users for finance consultant, SCM, HCM, PPM, easily you will be able to track an instance who did what. So that is the reason the offerings wise means what are the solutions, product families, finance consultant separate user, SCM separate user. This is how we create separate users and we'll start working on the instance. Okay, by default, there will be seeded user called as FA admin, but these days Oracle is not giving access to FA admin. So they create separate user, any user. You can talk to the Oracle who are in touch with the Oracle sales team. So they can say we need user with the so-and-so name. Accordingly, they create user. They'll share that user to the client. Client will share that user credentials to project manager, or else including project manager directly, client can share those instance details, instance URL, username and password. With that, you can log into the instance and you can create your own user. Then you can start working on the instance, doing the setups and testing and many other things you can do as a consultant. So if you want to create your own user, so you want to create user as, like since you are going to work for financials, you want to create user as fin.impl. means you are going to do the finance implementation by representing that you are creating user called as FinIMPL. So you will log into the instance with the user what you get from your project manager or client. Then you have to create your own user. When you create your own user, what sort of permissions you require to work as a consultant? You have to work as a consultant means you need full permissions to the entire instance related to functional. You don't need some technical areas of access. To work as a finance functional consultant, you need access to the entire system with respect to functionality. So when you create your own user, to give the access to this user to the full system, we need to assign the roles. We need to assign the roles. What we are calling is roles. So any user need access to instance, that user need access to roles. With the help of roles only, user can access to the instance related any activity. If you want to do some setups, you need relevant roles. You want to create invoice in the payables, you need relevant roles. You want to create the supplier, you need relevant role. You want to create assets in the fixed assets application, you need asset related roles. So with the help of roles only, you will be able to perform anything within the instance. Okay. So if you are going to work as an implementation consultant, you may be finance consultant or SCM consultant or HCM consultant or any consultant. If you are going to work as a consultant, we need access to two roles. We need access to two roles. Those roles are application implementation consultant. We need access to two roles. Those are, one is application implementation consultant role. The second role is IT security manager role. Okay, if you are going to work as a consultant in any project, we need access to two roles. We need access to two roles. One is application implementation consultant role. The second role is IT security manager role. There is a purpose behind it, why we need these two roles. We'll discuss. The two roles Oracle is providing. The two roles, you have to create your own user, but these two roles Oracle is providing. You can go to test instance, development instance, or production instance, or vision instance. In any instance, you can find these two roles. Means, along with instance, Oracle is providing these roles. The roles which Oracle is providing, those roles we call as seeded roles. The roles we call as seeded roles. As per our business requirement, we can create the new roles also. If you create any new roles, those we call as custom roles. Custom means creating something new. That's what we have to understand. In every project, we have to create the custom roles. We'll see that. We'll have a separate class on custom roles creation, how to create the custom roles. Those we'll discuss and we'll do in the system also as a part of our course. Just you have to understand these two terms. Seeded roles means the roles which Oracle is providing. Custom roles means whatever the new roles we create as per our business requirement, client business requirement. Say, one user need to create only invoices. Another user need to create only payments. Another user need to see only invoices which are created. You don't want to allow the user to see the create invoices. You want to allow the user or employee to view the invoices. And one employee you want to allow to create only suppliers. Another employee you want to allow to only view the payments which are processed. If this is a requirement, whatever the seeded roles Oracle is providing, those may not support exactly how you need. For that, we create the custom role. One custom role we create. If you assign that custom role to any user, that user can create invoices. That's all. Another custom role you may create just to view the invoices. You don't allow to create the invoices. You want to allow to view. Another custom role you may create just to create the payment. Another custom role just to view the invoices. Another custom role may be just to create the suppliers. This is how, as per business requirement in the company, which employee has to perform what exactly we can create the custom roles. We will see that later, not now. Okay, once we start working on the relevant topics, we will come across the custom roles concept. We will focus on that. So seeded roles means the roles, whatever Oracle is providing, those we call as seeded roles. Custom roles means as a consultant, whatever the new roles we create as per the client requirement, those we call as custom roles. For seeded roles, you can call as fundamental roles also. Okay, means which comes along with instance that you can treat as a fundamental data, basic roles. Okay, the basic roles which Oracle provides, or you can say seeded roles which Oracle provides. So these two roles we call as seeded roles. Okay, so we can modify these roles, then we can call as custom roles also. So I can modify this role, I can call as custom role, but with this name, whatever you see, these are the seeded. Application Implementation Consultant, IT Security Manager. These two are seeded roles. What is the purpose? These two roles are required by every consultant. What we can do with these roles? Here we discuss a few points. So if you want to use any application, here what are the applications we have? If you want to use any application, what we have to do? First, I want to use accounts payable application. Do I need to do something before using?
Setup and configuration.
Yes, setup.
We have to set up. Any application you want to use, you have to set up, then that would be ready to use. To set up, what concept we have to use here, we discussed. By using what you can do the setups in the system. Discuss one point.
The functional setup manager.
Right, we discussed, right? So if you want to use any application, we have to set up. If you want to set up, you can do by using Oracle Fusion FSM. FSM stands for Functional Setup Manager. With the help of FSM, Functional Setup Manager, you can do any application related setup. You want to create invoices and payments in the payables, by go to FSM, complete setups for payables, then you can start using. So if you want to do the setups, you need access to FSM, right? If you want to do the setups in the FSM, you need access to FSM. How do you get access to FSM? You can get access to FSM with the help of this role only. If you assign application implementation consultant role to any user, that user can get access to FSM. If you have access to FSM, you can do the setups. As a consultant, we have to do the setups. If you want to do the setups, we need access to application implementation consultant role. If you have access to application implementation consultant role, this role will allow you to access FSM. Within the FSM only, you can do any application related setups. That means being a implementation consultant, you can do the setups by using FSM. How to get access to FSM? With the help of application implementation consultant role. If you want to do any setups by using FSM, Functional Setup Manager, we need access to application implementation consultant role. Okay. What is the purpose of IT security manager? So you are working as a consultant, say for payables. In payables department, there are 10 accountants in one branch. For 10 accountants, you have to give access to payables application. That means you have to create the 10 employee users. Okay, you have to create the 10 users who are going to work on the payables application. As a consultant, we have to create users. Say for finance, they have 500 users. who are going to work on the financials applications, means creating invoice, making the payment, creating the suppliers, assets, invoice, transactions, receipts, reports, etc. To perform all these activities, say the client has 500 users, maybe in one country or multiple countries, or maybe for one business or multiple businesses, maybe within one country, maybe in one branch or multiple branches, doesn't matter. Let's take simple example. Please go on mute if you don't mind. Yeah. I'll give you the time to ask if you have any questions. I'll definitely stop and I'll take your questions. Yeah, thanks. So as a consultant, we have to create the users in the system, and which user need access to which application, we have to assign the roles. Say there is one employee who is working for payables. The employee job in the company is creating invoices and making the payment as per due date. Now we have to create that employee as a user in our Fusion applications, and we have to assign payable related role to that user so that that user can create invoices and payment. There is another employee. The employee responsibility in the company is the employee is responsible to take care of all the suppliers information. So for that employee, we have to create the separate user. To that employee, we have to allow that user to create the suppliers. Means we have to assign role to that user to create that, which role will allow that employee to create the user suppliers. So which user means which employee need access to what, accordingly you have to create the users and you have to assign the relevant roles. One employee is working for receivables department. Then we have to create that employee as a user in the system, and we have to assign receivables roles to that user so that that user can work on receivables application. One user is going to work on assets application. The user is part of asset department. So to maintain all the assets, to run the depreciations, etc., that user need access to FA application. So that employee you have to create as a user in the system. For that user, you have to give access to only fixed assets, not APAR. So as a consultant, they have to create the user, which user need access to what exactly, the relevant roles we have to assign. Which user need access to what, that we get from the business. When you are working for implementation project, we will ask the client. So how many users you need for payables? Which user need access to what functionality? We ask, they will provide that data in the spreadsheet. Accordingly, we can create users and you can assign the roles. If required, you can create the custom roles. This all we'll understand going forward. As of now, just I'm trying to give some high level understanding. So when we are working as an implementation consultant, so you need access to FSM to do the setups. If you want to do the setups by using FSM, any application setup, not API or AR, any application. If you get access to FSM, you'll be able to do the setups for any applications as a consultant. If you want to do the setups by using FSM, you need access to application implementation consultant role. If you have access to application implementation consultant role, you can access the FSM. You will be able to do the setups. And as a consultant, you have to create the users to users, which user need access to which role you have to assign. For that, we need access to IT security manager. If you have access to IT security manager, this IT security manager role will allow you to access security console. So if we assign IT security manager role to any user, that user can get access to security console. Within the security console, you can create the users and you can assign the roles to those users. And if at all you want to create the new roles, custom roles, yes, that also possible from the security console. And you can do few other activities also. Those we'll see in the system. If we discuss everything, it will create some confusion. Few things we can directly see that in the system. To understand the purpose of the roles, we are just discussing these points. Okay, what is the use of IT security manager? With the help of IT security manager, you can create the users and which user need access to which application, that access also you can provide. That is nothing but the relevant roles you can assign to those users. Accordingly, they can get access. And with the help of IT security manager, you can create the new roles also. As a consultant, you create the custom roles. Those you can create if you have access to IT security manager. If you assign IT security manager to implementation consultant, that implementation consultant will get access to security console environment, security console page. From the security console, we can create the users, we can assign the roles, and we can create the custom roles. So these two are key roles for every consultant. Application implementation consultant will allow the consultant to access FSM. IT security manager role will allow the consultant to have access to security console. With the help of FSM, you can implement any application. Doing setups in the system, you can call as implementation. You can configure. You can say setups or configuration. With the help of FSM, you can configure. You can set up any application. With the help of security console, you will be able to manage the security, user creation, giving access to so-and-so role. That in other words, you can say security also. So IT security manager will help us to manage the user security, nothing but creating users, assigning the roles, what access they need. So this is what we have to understand when we talk about user creation. Okay, when we get access to fresh instance means test instance or development or production. So initially all are fresh. Later we start doing the setups. So when we are working for any implementation project, initially you get access to test instance. Sometimes Oracle can give instance as a test instance, but within the name you can find as a development, but you don't think it's a development instance, why I'm accessing. No. Within the name, sometimes Oracle provides instance name as a development, but you can still use for testing purpose. Okay. So just you can categorize the instance, which instance you use for development. If you are using an instance for a development, even within the instance name may be text, a test instance. Since you are using for a development purpose, for customizations and all, you will call it as this is a development instance. Name they may give as a test. What purpose you are using, that is really matter. So you may do the testing and all. Instance name within the URL, they may give as a development. But you are using for what purpose? Testing purpose. You should call it as a test instance. What purpose you are using, based on the purpose, you call it as a test or development. Sometimes the names may not match what is the name for the instance, what purpose we are using. Okay, that also we have to notice. So these are the purposes we use the instances. That's how you can say this is a test, this is a development, this is a production. So that is another point you have to understand. So initially we get access to test instance, which is a fresh instance, no sample data. So when we get access to instance, you have to create your own user, and to that user you have to assign these two roles. Then you can start working on the instance to do the setups. Once you create your user, what is the next step and all we'll discuss. So before we proceed, any questions here, please?
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, you were mentioning about the seeded roles. So when we get the Oracle instance, so whatever is the standard roles, does it tell us what each role can do?
Yeah,
Example,
you can see that. We can see the system. That is possible. You can compare one role with another role, and you can get the report, and you can get the detailed information. We will see that in our classes as a part of custom roles concept.
Okay. And the next question is, we have heard like the term called personalization. So what is the difference between customization and personalization? And if I buy SaaS, does the personalization be a part of it?
Yes. See, customization means creating something new, simple. Personalization means, say in one page, you have one tab. You don't want to see that tab. You can disable it. You are hiding. Or else you have one field. You want to change that field name. Yes, you can change it. Those we call as personalizations. Okay. Changing field name, hiding tabs or hiding the fields in specific page, or hiding the making optional field as a mandatory. Those we call as a personalizations. Creating something altogether new, you call as a customization.
Okay. So in this personalization, let's say there is a text box and I want to make it as a list. So
No,
is that possible?
that is not possible. Those comes under customization, making convert. See, you are changing the field functionality itself.
Okay.
Okay, that is customization.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So, any other questions here, please?
Yeah.
Is
So
it possible
you
to
mentioned
Sorry.
two roles, right? One is application manager, consultant, and another is IT security manager, right? For implementation. So part of FSM, we cannot create any users, right? Only we can
FSM,
create users.
yes, FSM will allow you to do the setups. From FSM, you cannot create any users and you cannot assign the roles. Yes.
Right. Only IT security manager can create new users or update password.
Only IT security manager will allow you to have access to security console so that you will be able to deal with the users and user security. Yes.
Right. And also roles also he will only assign.
Sorry?
For example, IT security manager only will assign the roles, right? Like FSM role or any other role, application.
Any role. If you have access to
okay.
security console, you can create any user and you can assign any roles.
So in compared to R12, it is like a sysadmin, right? IT security manager.
Yes. If you compare with EBS, in EBS, we have a system administrator responsibility. From there, you can create the users, you can create the responsibilities, you can assign. In EBS, you create responsibilities and you assign. Here we have a ready-made roles. You don't need to create roles here. In EBS, you create the responsibilities and you assign. If you want to give access to payables to on user, you have to create payables responsibility and you have to assign to the user in EBS. In the Fusion, directly Oracle is giving payables roles. Just you have to assign.
Thank you.
But Lakshman, how is this role-based access in Fusion different when compared to responsibilities and menus and functions? Like, what is the basic difference?
Yeah, we will discuss that after some time. Now it would be so early, or else quickly let me go through it. So this point only you can take if you are from EBS background. Otherwise, ignore it. So just you ask this question, you tell me. So we'll have a main menu, right?
Correct.
Within main menu, what we can have?
Submenus.
Within submenu, we can have
functions.
That's all. Right? So this menu, okay, sorry. This menu you can call as main menu, or else you can say AP related menu. AP main menu. So if you want to access this AP main menu, can you access directly? If you want to assign to so-and-so user, can you assign?
No.
No. What you have to do?
You have to assign a responsibility that contains that.
So this you have to tag into responsibility. You have to create the responsibility. So within the responsibility, you can take this menu. That's how you can assign to the user. So in Fusion, equal to responsibility, we don't have anything. Equal to main menu, we have a roles that we call a job role. That I just plan to explain this as a part of custom role. Since you asked question, let me go through highlight. Equal to main menu, we have a job roles. Equal to submenu, we have a duty roles. Equal to functions in Fusion, we call as privileges. That's all. So role point of view, these two you have to understand. Now in EBS, this main menu you cannot assign to any user directly. The main menu you have to take into responsibility you can assign. But in the Fusion, job role directly you can assign to the user. Can you assign submenu to any user in EBS?
Not directly, no.
Not directly. For submenu, you have to create main menu, right?
Correct.
That you have to take into response. Same way, duty roles you cannot assign to any user. If you want to assign duty roles to any user, the duty role you have to create as a job role.
Job
Only
role.
job role can be assigned. In EBS, responsibilities you can assign to the user. In the Fusion,
Job roles.
that's it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Any other questions, please? Any questions from anyone, please? Okay.
Lakshman, here for the seeded roles. Um, um, After we receive the user from Oracle through the client, so here when new user will be created, right? And that will be assigned the two seeded roles, right?
Correct,
So
correct.
he can create new users and assign whatever he wants to assign to them, right or not? So one user will be
one second here. The moment you get access to instance, you are not going to create many users. Okay. First, we create implementation user. You assign these roles. Then we will start working on the system. Once you set up system ready, then you create other users. Initially, you don't create multiple users. Only we create one user for ourselves, like to work as implementation consultant, to get access to FSM and to security console. Okay. So then you will start discussing with the client and you start setting up the system, how they are operating the business. Then later, whenever users need access to system, then you will do that user related. Okay, in the test instance, you create few users for sample purpose. In the production instance, you create all the real users. Initially, only just create implementation user, assign these two roles, then you'll start working on the system, setting up, testing, etc., etc.
So the user that will be created after we receive the user from Oracle, that will be used by all the consultant team.
No, that's what you mentioned. See, you may get one user called as ABC user from the client or project manager. Okay. So if you want to use this user also, you can ensure these two roles are assigned to this user so that you can use this. But reality, what we do is whatever the user they are providing, if you are going to depend on that, after some time, if they are going to change the password for that user, again, we have to depend on others. We have to talk to the team and also user password changed. And again, you may have to contact the project manager or somebody. That is reason to have your own control. Since you are working as a consultant, you will create separate user. You may not depend on that. If you want to use this, you can use it. But ensure these two roles are already assigned to this user. Yep. Since this user is going to use it by many people knows this user credentials and all, somebody may change the password. Then you will be lost, right? So that is reason always we get some user from the client or project manager. By using that, we create our own user so that you can play with that. Clear?
But again, this user will be it's clear.
This user means which user?
That we have to create our own user. No, it's clear that we have to create our own user and password. That will be controlled. But my question is, can we use this username and password that we have created for the whole team?
Yes,
the whole consultant team?
Yes, you can use it. Nothing wrong.
10 different people that can use the same username and password, right? We don't need to assign each one. Okay.
Yeah, you may create and stuff giving fin. You can create just some very generic name like IMPL consultant, implementation consultant. You can share, but reality what we do is, so we create separate users. If you are a finance consultant, you create separate user, you assign these roles, SCM separate. Yes, one user you can share across the team, everyone can use it. Yes, that is also possible.
And the whole team will be having the two privileges of the seeded roles, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
So it's almost 9:30. So that's all for today. If you have any questions, you can stay back. We can discuss. We'll connect tomorrow same time. Thank you all. Any questions, please?